Welcome to the Berlin Drawing Room.
Let's get started. I'm gonna put my camera in the spotlight so we're sure it's there. And somebody from Texas, more people from California. Awesome. Okay, so like I said before, you need two pencils, one white and one brown or black or graphite. The idea here is that it doesn't have to be a pencil, it can also be some chalk. Like you need something that colors white and something that colors brown. And Demi and Drake, I just explained the recording. It's not something I manage. So if the management decides to put it online, you will then receive communication via the mailing list, but it's not something I do directly. I hope that you can hear me because you the question came through a couple of times, so I don't know if you can hear me speak. Let me know if you heard me answering you. So two sources of color, one white, one dark. The thing that I would like for you to double check before we start is that they need to be compatible, which means that if I go with the dark pencil, then I kind of need to be able to go over with the light one a little bit, okay? Or vice versa, if I start with the light one, I then need to be able to go over with the dark one. So I need to have a little bit of range, and I'm gonna show you. So there are different kind of pencils I use for this technique. These are wax-based pencils. And I also have oil-based pencils that I'll show you what they look like on paper, because I think it's important to so we can observe the difference between the two. And I'm gonna use like this. So this is a polychromos. These are they're a little bit drier than this. And this is the one of my favorite white is the Museum Aquarelle from Carandash. But see, the principle is the same. I need to be able to overlap them. And let me show you, for example, if I was using this is a pastel pencil, so it's powdery and dry. And if I try to go over something powdery with this, it can work. But sometimes if I try to do the other way around, where is it? See, it doesn't work. So it's important that it works in both directions, that you can both overlap the white to the dark and the dark to the white for the technique to work. Because if not, you risk getting stuck while creating certain transitions on paper, okay? So this is the main technical thing that I wanted us to look at today. You can also use, just came to mind as an example, 1 second, where is it? I don't have my dry pastels here. You can also use 2 dry pastels if you want. I used to have dry pastel pencils, but I don't know where they are now. So look around the house, find 2 things like this, look around the house, sorry, and find some toned paper, which again, toned paper means anything that it's a medium tone color. It doesn't have to be too dark. It's better if it's darker than it's lighter. You need to be able to see the white, basically. If your paper is not dark enough to show the white, you need to use darker paper. A good source of toned paper for this kind of exercises is the supermarket paperbacks. They are just, you know, the perfect average brown color. So you can go with that with no problem. So this is for the technical part of the pencil. If you have trouble, let me know and I will let you know. And then, oh, okay, very great, pardon. So I'm gonna put the reference picture we're gonna use today in the chat, so everybody can access it, hopefully. Okay. And as I said before, we're gonna work from a still life to make life easier for everybody and to focus more on the technique rather than the subject. Because the problem if we do complicated subjects is then, you know, we spend all our energy trying to draw that thing well and we don't focus on the technique. So, I'm trying to think. We can actually, no, okay, let's do it just like this. I was thinking, no, it's gonna be okay. So the still life, the cool thing about still life, and the reason why, what I was saying before to Ange, it's not a link, it's a file that you should get in the chat. I just sent it. Some laptops have firewalls or antiviruses that block access to the files in the Zoom chat. I'm not an IT, so I don't really know how to tell you how to change your laptop setting to access the file. The other thing I may do to make the file accessible is try to do this. Let me try to drop it in the in a Dropbox folder and then put the link, but some people don't have Dropbox. So for some people that it's complicated. Black and white, peat pastels. Yeah. It can be black, dark, as long as it's Ishaki, as long as it's a dark color, it's gonna be okay. Don't worry. Okay, so I'm in the process of putting the reference picture in another location other than the chat for everybody. So no worries. So we can generate, I can generate another link. Okay. We can do it. Copy link. TDD. Where is the chat? Here. Okay. Okay, now the file was both in the chat and in a link in the chat. That should mean that everybody somehow should have been able to access it. So what I was going to say, one of the reasons still lives are so popular among artists as a subject for practice, as I was saying before to Ange, it's because in a still life, being a still life, a composition of different elements made of different materials and textures, they are the perfect exercise to practice rendering different surfaces, textures, and light and shadow situations. So they are a very good practicing field. Regardless of what you like to draw, if you start with a still life, it will always be a good idea to start with still lifes because you practice skills that you can then apply to portrait, to figure, to landscape, and any other thing. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. This being said, I'm gonna take my white pencil and what I'm gonna do, the first thing is I'm gonna do a very light sketch of the elements, which means that I'm not pressing hard on the paper and I am not trying to draw the details now, because we're gonna achieve the details via the shading. So we don't need to do the details super well now. So I draw the line of where, like the table line between the table and the back. And then if I calculate kind of halfway of my paper, I have my pear here in this location, and the pear is half up, like half above this line, and then half below the line of the table. The pear is not of a regular shape, so we will be able to understand that it's a pear even if it's a little bit crooked, which is the cool thing about drawing fruits and veggies and this kind of stuff. After the standing pear, we have the sleepy pear, or the pear that is now currently laying horizontal on the table. And always use the line of the table as a reference of where, like, to place your pear. So there is a little bit more under and a little bit less over, and this is my lying pear. Then in between the two, I have the baseline of the bottle, and then on this side, I have one side of the bottle. Halfway through the belly of the pear, I have the other line of the bottle. And if I calculate kind of like a triangle coming up from the two pairs, it's where the neck of the bottle is. And then from there, I can softly slide down. Again, I'm doing a very general drawing at this point. It's just a guide sketch of where the volumes and the elements are. And then the other thing that I have is this tralcio. How do you say? La cut of ivy? I don't know what is the word for a piece of a climbing plant in English. But yeah. And again, for the leaves too, we don't have to draw the leaves well now. We can just do like little...
A cut of ivy.
What is the word again?
A cut, a cuttings of ivy. I would
okay,
say.
So a cut of ivy is correct. Cool. Thank you.
I would say that.
Awesome. Thank you. See, I am like deducing English at this point. Makes sense. Okay. So I'm just, again, for the ivy, I'm not drawing the leaves well. I'm just doing placeholders of where the leaves are. And this is all I need to do as a basic drawing. I don't need to put any more details at all at this point, okay? So do this. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to work on your basic sketch. So in 5 minutes, we'll continue with this. If you have questions or problems, you can drop them in the chat. Or you can unmute yourself and ask. 1 minute more, and then we go to the next step. A spray of ivy, nice. Okay, I'm learning, becoming fancy here. What I wanted to say, if you see, so when I do these demos in all my classes, I try, my pace in between all the steps tends to be like an average of the speed that I've seen students have in the years. But for some people, it may still be too fast. If you see that my pacing is too fast, please just do one part of the whole thing. So, you know, there are more than one element in this sketch. If you see at, you know, halfway through the class that I'm going too fast, just focus on one. And so you can understand the technique, and then you can apply it to the rest. Also, a sprig of ivy. Oh, we're getting fancy here. Sprig. I never heard the word sprig. Mystery. Oh. A twig. Twig, right. But I always assume twig is leafless, leafless, without leaves. Twig. No, I don't know. Mystery. Okay, so what are we gonna do now? What is the important aspect of drawing on tonal paper? So usually when we draw, let me take a piece of white paper so I can explain it. So when we're drawing on white paper, one of the most easy way to organize tonal value is the 5 slots tonal value scheme, which means that this is white, light, medium, dark, and then shadow point. And when I'm drawing on white paper, I may start from the light, and then as the color becomes darker, I render, as I put more pigment on paper, I render a darker color, and I have my tonal value scale. Okay, so this is the basic concept of chiaroscuro and tonal values. Okay, what happens when I'm working on toned paper? When I'm working on toned paper, what I apply my lovely 5 steps scheme, which is white, light, medium, dark, shadow point. The paper is already the medium tone. So when I want to apply the tonal values, I go from the middle to the sides. So I will do the dark by layering my dark pencil lightly, and then I will do the shadow point by going darker with my pencil. And to do the lighter tone, I will take the white pencil, and my light will be a light layer of pigment, and then my white will be a harder level of pigment. See what I mean? Like we still have the same 5 steps tonal value scale. The difference is how we arrived there. And the reason why a lot of old masters and artists in all art history has been very fond of toned paper is that starting from the mid-tone and then only having to think about the highlights and the shadows, it is time efficient, and it is a little bit more easy as a process, and it allows for faster work. And yeah, so this is the base that we're working with. How do we proceed? Usually the easier way, it's always start from the medium and then put the dark and the light, and then put the shadow point and the white. And this is what the process that we're going to follow today. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm gonna take my dark pencil and start observing and placing my dark, because my shadow point will be inside the area that I define as dark. And my white will be inside the area that I define as light. So if we apply the process systematically, it is easier to achieve chiaroscuro shading from light to dark in our composition. So let's start from the standing pair. In this pair, if we look at it, we can tell that this side is in the light, this side is in the shadow, but there is a darker shadow on the table and a darker shadow here under the edge. So how do I choose which point, gray point of the pair is my medium tone? And I usually proceed by exclusion, like, so this is, what is the lightest point? Okay, this part of the pair. What is the darkest point? This part of the pair. So is there an intermediate value between this and that? And it's kind of here. It's where the medium tone of the pair will be. So this area, I will leave the color of the paper. And this is the most important thing, because if I'm drawing on toned paper and I cover everything, why am I doing it if I don't use the medium tone of the paper? I could as well draw on white paper. Like, there is no point. So we want to have some areas of the drawing where we can only see the paper. So I start, and I suggest to start as a movement of the pencil on the paper to kind of go soft, like this oval shape, or like short. Try to apply very little pressure so that you don't leave strong marks on the paper and it's a soft blending. And start from where it's darker. So I start here from this part of the pair, and then I'm just going towards what we said before, the medium. So I try to be very light at this stage. If you notice that you pushed too hard while doing your drawing, you can tone it down with some kneaded eraser or whatever else you have. Usually I did the preparatory drawing here with the, I should delete this line, which is awful. I did the preparatory drawing here with the white. Usually this drawing, I do it with a pencil, with a brown pencil that is similar to the paper. So you can't really see the lines of the drawing. They're not too aggressive, but it doesn't show on camera. I tried in other classes and it really doesn't show on camera. So it's better to do it with the white, but the problem that the white tends to show through a lot in the dark areas. So like this, okay. So we were saying, let's do the dark part of the pair like this. And here along the edge too. And then in the shadow on the table, I do it with horizontal lines like this. And try to do everything with the same, in the same tone, not with darker or lighter parts now. It's all the same level of brown, okay? So I'm doing the shadow on the table under the second, the sleeping pair here. And same thing here, where are the darker areas? Here on this part, there is this shadow that I don't really understand, but I see, so. And there is a darker shadow here. If you just started with this technique, I always suggest using a black and white picture, because that way you can really see the the tonal values more easily, because when colors come into the game, it becomes more complicated. Let's move to the glass. So in the glass, we have clearly the white highlight is this reflection. And then you can see a lighter reflection here in this part. And then my shadow point, it's on the edge here and the twig inside, the spray or sprig. But there it's a little bit darker along the edges. So what I'm going to do, when you draw glass, to render glass better, the trick is to try to focus on being very precise about the shape of these reflections and shadows in the glass. So I'm gonna try to reproduce those with as much accuracy I can. I don't think I'm gonna go do these notches on the side of the glass because it makes everything more complicated. The point with reference pictures is that we're using them as inspiration. We don't have to do perfect photographic copies of whatever we're drawing. There is no, we don't have that performance pressure here. Also, like, it's still gonna look like a bottle whatever the level of my shadows and details is. And then I have a couple of dark lines here. And then I can do my twig. I'm gonna start from the leaves. So in the cut of ivy, there are these leaves here, which are hit by the light, which are clearly lighter. There is also the veins in the leaves, which are lighter. The shadow point is the darkest parts of the cut, and the middle tone, it's this medium gray of these leaves behind and these other elements. So I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna do this, start with the leaves. And to render the leaves in a more natural way, I suggest that you don't start by, because this is a common mistake, trying to draw the leaf like this with the dark contour. But this becomes graphic right away, and we don't want that. We are trying to be realistic here, so reality doesn't have contour lines. So try to work with from the shadows more. So for example, here I have this dark small leaf, and I just work on filling in the whole area. It doesn't have to be too dark now. I'm still doing this, still doing this point, not this. So do this scheme in your drawing so you have a reference of how dark you should go at each step, okay? And you don't get overexcited and go too dark too fast. Being systematic in the way you approach your shading and your chiaroscuro is, it's something that I think it's important to develop, because it will save you time, and if you don't have to stress too much to achieve a certain result, then you will do it more often, which means that you will practice more often and you will get better at your drawing. So if you see that the technique that you're using in your drawing studies is bringing you a lot of frustration, think outside of the box. Try something else. See what happens. if you go in a different direction. After I placed my dark shadows, I'm gonna go and do the stem cut spring part of this. So I can do the central part, and then I can do the smaller. And don't worry, because this technique, it's like working with opaque paint, not with watercolor, which means that we have a lot of wiggle room for corrections, because we have the white, we have the dark, we can overlap them in whatever order we want. And that means that, you know, we can make a mistake and then find a solution for it later. So no stress, please, at this point. Ta-da-da, ta-da-da. This one. Just check that all your leaves have a stem, so they're not floating. But this is our dark layer. So please feel free. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to work on it. And again, if you feel that 5 minutes is too fast, do only one pair. Ignore the bottle, do only the ivy, or do only the bottle, don't do the ivy, but simplify your work for yourself, okay? Sorry, there is my cat scratching. I need to go check what she's destroying. I'll be back in 2 minutes. You keep working on this. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Shall we move to the next step? Are you ready? Yeah. No, it's not another, it wasn't another bat. She just wanted food. It's like, because now she started sleeping in the laundry basket in my room, which means that she keeps, she understood that the bedroom door opens and closes. It's not just an invisible room that she never knows. She now wants to get in and out and scratches on the door, and traditional cat disasters with doors. But because there was a bat this morning, I'm like, oh my God, there's another bat. No, it's not another bat. It's just my cat being a cat. So we were here, we applied the dark, we are now applying the light. Same thing, following another principle. One thing that I suggest, if you have a little piece of paper, of whatever paper you have, at least as long as it's clean, when you start working, put it under your hand, so you're not, because now we have pigment on the paper, so we are not gonna smudge everything that we just did with our hand. So I'm gonna start from the pear. Oh, I forgot. Oopsie. There was the stem of the pear here that I was also supposed to put some dark. Okay. So now, basically, once I decided that this middle point is my medium, I can go towards, I can go and do the opposite. So I start from the highlight, and where it's light, I blend out towards the medium tone on the paper. And as I said before, at this point, the most important thing is please, please, please avoid covering up the whole area. You need to leave some part of paper color visible, because if we cover up everything, then why are we using toned paper? Okay, so something like this. I always have to check the screen because the contrast is different from what I see and what you see. So I need to pace my coloring to what you see. And then same thing here. Start from the dark, the highlight, and then from there blend out towards the medium. Don't press too hard because we still need the range to make this light become full white. Okay. And yeah, this also, Okay, there was also the other stem here somewhere. And now, same thing on the glass. I'm gonna go with the light everywhere I see. There, like, we have no idea what was in front of this, like what is reflecting on the glass. You can see here the edge of the table and probably another chair. I think this is like the back of a chair. It's a fun game trying to recognize reflections in bottles. Like this. And I'm also gonna go with the white where I'm going to put the white highlight later. I don't know what I'm doing here. I think I doubled the layers too much, but it's okay. And then, yeah, we have this. You can see it. Yeah, I can't see it very well on my camera, but it's okay. As long as you can see it on the screen there, I don't need to see anything. And here I need to put a little bit. Sorry for the screaming kids. I don't know if you can hear them. And then the last thing I'm gonna do, it's going on the light part of the leaves. We have these leaves that are facing the light source that comes from the right. So it's very, very, very light here, the situation. I'm still not doing the, what I was going to say, the veins in the leaves now, okay? And as I go, I realize that I should have put some more shadows in certain parts. It's okay. That's what I said before. It's not a ultimate situation. It's we can keep correcting because we're using opaque colors. Then here. And then a little bit of this here, like this. Yeah, I think that for our light tone, this is more than enough. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to work on this. Where do I find picture, photo, still life you are drawing? I posted, have you just, okay, wait, I'm gonna try to copy. It's either here or I'm gonna put the picture in the chat or here. You should be able to get it from one of these two sources, Lauren. Yeah, cats, mine is always on the wrong side of the door, right? Like, I think it's the fact that the door is closed that is a problem for cats, not the side. It's like, this thing is now closed and I can't control it without a biped with opposable thumbs. So I think it's more a conceptual problem. You're welcome. Okay. So 5 minutes, work on your lights. Yeah, fear of missing out. Fear that you're having so much fun inside that room without them. I can hear you talking. Who are you talking with? Yeah. cats are awesome. Okay, let's go to the next step. So we are methodical, we are proceeding. Drawing on toned paper is awesome because of that. There is a very specific system. We are going to do now the shadow point. Before doing the shadow point, I would suggest you to sharpen your pencil again, because the shadow point, by definition, it's a point, which means that it's either a folding line, a small line. Maybe don't sharpen your pencil over your drawing and then get it covered with pencil dust, like I just did. And so you need precision to put the shadow point where you want it. So I'm gonna start with my shadow point and starting with my standing pair. And the first thing that I'm going to do, it's here along the edge, like this. And it gets up to here where it touches the bottle. And there is a little bit of transition towards the previous shadow here and there, and a little bit of darker transition here, this fold here, and then among the tip again. Don't be confused by try to see the difference between something that is dark because the skin of the fruit is dark and something that is dark because there is an actual shadow there. It's two different things. We need to learn also to recognize when it's one and when it's the other, okay? Like this. And so here, and then I can expand from in the shadow on the table because there is a smaller, darker shadow closer, then blends into the other. Seems good. Seems good to me. Here I have this shadow, which is actually the projected shadow of the other pair. So it needs to get there. Okay, laying pair. Same thing. Start from the edge, like this. And then here too, the part where the pair touches the table, it's my shadow point. And that's pretty normal. The shadow point tends to be in all that parts where something either falls or touches another thing. And here I have the darker projected shadow. And sometimes you see things because they have a dark shadow. Sometimes you see things because they're light, they're in the foreground, and there is something dark behind them that pulls them forward. So that also, it's important to learn how to recognize the difference between these two things. And there isn't much else. I'm not doing the dots on the pairs, I'm sorry. And then here we start with the glass. And again, there are parts of the glass, like here at the base, which are way darker. The fact that they are darker makes the tip of my pair more visible, this tip, which is lighter. So that's what I meant. Sometimes reality doesn't have contour lines. Sometimes you understand what is going on because of what you see are going on around. And then here I'm gonna go on the edge. I'm not gonna do the notches. I'm not gonna do the notches there on the side of the bottle. I'm just gonna try to mark my dark shadows more. And sometimes, like here, it's just one line. Try not to think about why you see a shadow in a certain point on glass, because if you try to think about the logic of it, there is none, or at least there is a physical logic, but unless you are somebody that studied the laws of light and materials, etc., you can't really calculate it. We can only observe it. We can only get there by observation. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm trying to figure out where all these things are by observation, like this. And then I have the inside of the thing, the twig, the spring twig. And of course, the twig part of the cut of ivy is the one that is darker. But if you observe, this is important, like this part, it is darker from this point of the curve up, but not here. Here there is light. So I'm gonna try then to put the small darker angles here. This is literally a line of the thickness of the leaf. See? Like this. And then I do the same thing for all the leaves. I think this goes behind or forward. I have no idea. I think it comes forward. It's like here and there. Yeah. And then this one. So, and here too, you can do the thin edge of the leaf there. Now this one. This is quite dark. I should have done it darker. Let's do it a little bit darker. This, and it's darker there. Then here, it's darker only on the bottom side. Like this, and then here. Like this. And then the long part, the bigger leaf in the foreground. To be a little bit more precise here, because you can see more details, because the leaf is bigger. There are these folds which are darker. A little bit here. Sorry, I keep bumping into the camera with my head. Because I need to do the proportions well. I need to be above the drawing. I really don't know where this triangle is coming from. Must be another leaf somewhere that I can see. This one is all pretty dark. Like this. Again, it's not all the way, like here, these twigs are dark here at the bottom, but they're not that dark above. They're actually quite light. Here, only a little bit on the edges, there is darkness, like this. So, this is my shadow point. I'm gonna, again, leave you 5 chill minutes to do the shadow point, and then we can do the white highlight. Okay, ready for the final step? So now we're going to do the white highlight. And same way, we start from here. And it's important, again, to have a very sharp pencil. And we're gonna work the white highlight and the shadow point. They gain their strength by being small. If we don't have range, the point chiaro scuro means it's a composed word that means light dark. It's the whole range of things that exist between the white and the shadow point. If we collapse the range into less, like in only black and white, it becomes high contrast, which is a different way of shading and rendering reality. So it's important that if we want to work on this, we need to have the range, have the shading, and because we're using opaque colors, we can blend and position and add or remove if we are missing in certain areas. And the same thing here. My main highlights are here. And usually you will find the white highlights on the peak of the curves. And this to answer the how is this connected to portrait thing is, this is how, because if you memorize that your highlights are always on the peak of the curve, you will memorize that you need to put a highlight on the top of the cheekbones or in the middle of the eye bulb. And again, here in the glass too, we can reinforce this outer line, this part here. And then we have the strong highlights here. And then here on the band. And then on the side. Something like this. And then on the leaves, we need to do the veins now with the white. And also the tip and this edge, this part. This leaf here, it's aggressively hit by the light. And then we have this leaf, the vein, there. Like, and you can also at this point go back and forth with a little bit of dark too, if you feel that you don't have enough contrast in certain areas. Like this is the final stage. So this is also where we can retouch whatever we missed in the process before. Oh. And then this leaf here. You can also use the white to lighten up any part of the stems of the leaves that you feel that are not dark enough. Sorry, I ended up in the corner. Seems contrasted enough for me. And now you can look at the whole thing. And I feel that I can go a little bit darker in the center, in some parts here, just to put a little bit more contrast, not much, but to make the light more visible a little bit, like, yeah, but then continues here, then here is light. Yeah, better, much better. Yeah, this is it. We did it, people, amazing. So let me take a picture for posterity. So I'm gonna give you now 5 minutes to finish up, and after that, for those who want, we're going to do a round of feedback where you can show me what you did, and you can ask me questions or share about your experience. As before, I am going to call whoever has the camera on. I'm gonna put, I learned from my past mistakes, so recurring questions, I'm putting in the chat all my contacts. And I forgot the email because people always also ask me the email. This is the email. And please, before leaving, you can also write in the chat where you have seen about this class, because this helps you for future communication. And if you have any questions, Evan Bright, cool, thanks. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Finish up your work, and when you're done, use the reaction raise hand, so I get you in my all queued, and I can come to you, see what you've done, and give you some feedback and answer your questions. And Evan Bright, Telegram, Facebook. Yes, I also have. Yeah, you can find. I have a lot of. Okay, for people who are interested, also those who are in different time zones, I have some regular hangouts or things online that you can participate in. You can find them on my Instagram. I have workshops I teach online that you can find on the Burley Drawing Room workshop. And yeah, so I see Tony.
Yes.
Okay, so 1 second, Tony. So, okay, so usually when I ask, when we do the round of feedback, the format that I use with my students works like this. I ask you to share one thing about the whole process, one thing that it made sense, that you understood, that you liked how it turned out, and you will keep in your practice for the next time. And then one thing that you struggle with, you didn't understand well, or you realize you will do it a different way next time. Okay, so.
Well, what I understood and made absolute sense, and I think I did okay with, is the getting the lightest lights and the darkest darks. Because there are so many mid ranges that I was unsure what to tone with both the light and the dark when we were in the middles. Yeah, I struggled with the midtones because there's so many. And but I understand it. I just,
One thing that you liked about the process, it can also be like, because one thing that I think is important is like, was the process pleasant while you were drawing? Was it nice?
oh, yes, it was very nice. And actually, it was way more relaxed than my usual drawing because I'm so used to being worried about, every detail, like is this shadow darker than this shadow? And doing it this way, you're like, okay, your mind filters out the lightest lights and the darkest starts, and then you start there. So it is easier.
Good. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please, people, don't leave right away, because I also would like to take a group picture with all the works before we end. So please hold it there for the feedback. Look at what the others did, because sometimes people ask me questions and I say super interesting stuff or super random stuff, which are both cool. So don't miss that. And Merle, go.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much. It was super interesting, well organized, and it was a lot of fun. I'm going to send you the picture because my camera is really bad in the chat, but
just lift it in front of the camera. It's okay.
Oh yeah, okay, but well,
you just need to
the lighting is
just hold
not
it
the best.
Hold it still, because so it focuses. Okay. Good. So tell me one thing that worked and one thing that you're like,
one thing that worked really well was first, which I never did, go from dark to light and then the shadow point and then the lightest light. Like first do the overall darkness and overall lightness and then go to the deeper tones. That worked really well. And what didn't work that well is I realized that I started to do details in the process. Even when I do my sketching, like the first sketching, I always go into details very early in the beginning. So
yeah, and the thing with the details is that if you think about drawing like a sculpting process, imagine that the more you get to the extremes of your tonal value range, the more you're using the smaller tools to sculpt and create detail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it really changes, because the thing is, if you assign a lot of details at the beginning, sometimes it's a waste of energy because you have to rework things. Because when you get to the complex shading, you're like, oh, wait, then this line here, it's useless because it's actually in the light. And so it's a little bit more efficient to leave it for the end. But experiment with it, because it also depends on your own flow of work and everybody's different. But I'm happy that, it worked for you. Really nice. Thank you so much. Okay, and then we have Christine. I'm going with the people with the raised hand reaction, and then I'm gonna go to everybody else that doesn't know how to use reactions and it's just waving the drawing, okay? Okay, Christine.
Well, here it is. I found it extremely relaxing. And I think it was a very efficient way to do and to understand the shadows, which I really don't understand normally. And that was great. Thank you so much. Brilliant class.
Thank you. I think for the future, try to find a little bit darker paper, because the paper you were using, it's a shade of gray that may be tiny bit. It's like it's more tiring to pull the highlights out.
That's right. That's right.
I'm very happy you had fun. Okay, and then we have Katerina.
Hi, can you see? Okay, this is my 10-year-old daughter joined the class and she did an amazing piece of art. Thank you.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Did you have fun, Katerina?
Yeah, it was very fun and calming.
Oh, good. What is the thing that you like the most?
I liked drawing the pears and yeah, just drawing everything.
Okay.
And especially the shading and making it lighter and darker depending on the light effects.
Cool. It's a very nice drawing. Thank you for sharing it, Katerina. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, then the people waving the drawings. We have Marie Fournier.
Okay. Okay, coming.
Yes.
This is one. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay. And my friend did this is on a brown paper bag.
Perfect. See? I told you the brown bag is the answer.
Thank you. That was nice. Again.
Nice and relaxed.
Yeah. Nice to go with the contrast and the shadow point. We love that.
I mean, thank you, Marie. Lovely to have you.
Okay. See you next time. Thank you again.
Bye. Wait. We have to do the group picture. Wait there 10 minutes, please. And then Ledna. Mute yourself, dear. Sorry, you're still muted. Okay.
Yes, hi. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it
Yes.
well. This is my first class with you. It was a lot of fun, although I'm kind of a perfectionist, so it is stressful that I feel like I did not get the details right. But I'll try to, let it go a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a common feeling between my students that I have this obsession in finding a way for people to have fun when they draw, and not to be too frustrated. And people that love details struggle a little bit with this, but I really appreciate you accepting to follow my technique and my pace and experiment a different way of doing things. And hopefully in the end you find your halfway of going through it, not too precise, not too loose, a good balance that works for you.
I hope so. My hardest thing is the leaves, because I tend to just start moving my pencil all over the page without sort of following the actual leaves, and that kind of makes a mess. So I need to pay attention to that more in the future.
Good. Thank you for sharing, Lena. Thank you so much. And wait around a little bit so we take a picture all together of the drawings, not of our faces. And then Carol.
Okay. My paper bag was very ripply, which was difficult to draw on, but I still enjoyed it. I don't know if you can even really see it.
Yeah, you need to rotate it a little bit more towards, yes, like that.
Better?
Yeah, because so I don't see the crinkly. Okay.
Yeah. I would definitely, I picked a colored pencil that was called brown. And it's too orangey. I would have liked something with more contrast. So the next time I do it, I would definitely choose a darker brown.
Yeah, but I appreciate coming from you and your attention to detail, working on crinked paper. It is a challenge. You can't get much into detail, so I truly appreciate it. Thank you, Carol.
But I had fun.
That's the important thing. Good. Yeah. And then Alena or Alina.
Hey everybody. So there we are.
So one thing that it worked, the one thing that was hard.
I quite like the range and way that we started from the mid and then sort of went and highlighted the highlights and darkened the darks. I think what didn't really work is that I should have approached the actual leaves with more of a as an abstract pattern. I think I was trying to work out the leaves too much, and I think when you do that, it just doesn't really work. So that's the learning, make them a bit more abstract, but overall quite nice. Yeah, very nice.
Good. Your glass has a nice reflection. It works. It's like the parallel pattern is clear. So good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Who wants to share again? Wave your hand or wave your drawing. You did. And wait, you did. And Christine, that I saw now. I'm coming to you later. Then wait, let me move. You have Judith, then I have Shira. And Christine, where are you? Can you unmute and so you can share? Yes, okay, here you are. Unmute yourself. Let's see if we can do it. Okay, perfect. So one thing that it worked and one thing that was hard. Because your mic is off, right? Okay, thank you, Christine. Wait a second that we finish the chat, the feedback, and we take a picture, okay? And then we have Aishani. Wait, I have Judith too. Okay, I have Aishani, Shira, and Judith, and then we take the picture. So Aishani, unmute yourself.
This is the completed drawing. I think one thing I liked about it is the fact that the shading was very easy to understand and was explained very nicely, and it was easy to use on the toned paper. One thing I would try to do a little bit more carefully next time would be using the shadows and the white. I think some of my shadows became a little too dark, and I tried to mix some of the color within some of the white areas, so it ended up making it look completely colored instead of a light shade.
Yeah.
So I'll try practicing on that next time.
Good. I experiment with this technique, even with random subjects. You will have a lot of fun. You'll see.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you for the lovely class.
Thank you, Shani. I'm always happy to see you. And then Shira, unmute yourself, please.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had to come back on my telephone. I lost the reception, so I will show you my.
Wait. Okay.
Really?
Shira? No, where is it?
I really enjoy to use this technique.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would like to try to enjoy with this techniques my jewelry. I'm a jewelry designer, and I would like to try drawing. Yes.
Let me show you something because I have it here. This artist, Alphonse Mucha, used to draw jewelry studies on toned paper. Let me find it. Wait. What is it? 1 second. This is super interesting because you design jewelry, and this artist also, see, he used to make this kind of things, and there are all the studies. Here they are. See, you can do the studies of jewelry and things on toned paper, and it works pretty well. So I'm looking forward your jewelry design on toned paper. Very good idea, Shira.
Thank you a lot.
Awesome. And last but not least, Judith.
This is mine, and yeah, it was great doing it, and I think it's really important, and I have to work on it, that the shading, that the line is and the background is straight and it's more round on the fruit, and because if you're not doing it, then yeah, you don't get the impression, the real impression. And I think maybe it depends on the softness of the pencil. So I think for that I still have to work on it.
Yeah, but the tonal values are all there. I can see them. So
yeah,
good starting point. Ah, and Terry, hi there. It was you that I had to reconnect. Hi. So unmute yourself and show us. Okay.
Okay, sorry. I have to come in my phone.
It's okay. It's okay. So how did it go?
Pardon?
How was the process for you?
It was very interesting to be able to think and follow you in the layers of applying to see it differently, because I just put everything on usually, but to do it that process, it unfolds and it's almost like sculpting. So thank you.
Yes, I'm happy that the system worked for you, and
Yeah.
thank you for sharing. Cool.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. People, so what we're gonna do now is everybody that wants to share the drawing, just, you don't have to show your face. Just lift your drawing to the camera, and that is gonna be enough. I'm gonna just screenshot you all. Hold it there because I have 2 pages of people, so I have to scroll the second page too. So hold your drawing still there in front of the camera. Hold it still. If you have a virtual background, you can stand and keep it on your belly. That also works. Okay, stop. First picture, 3, 2, 1. Second page, stay there. Again, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Now, everybody, thank you so much for participating to this. Let me see if there is any question in the comments. Doesn't seem so. Thank you so much for participating. As I left in the chat before, I'm gonna repost it again. You can find me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. I am going to teach several workshops, both in person in Berlin and online in the next months. You can find them on the Berlin Drawing Room. If you have any questions, or if you want to show me the next things you do, if you experiment with this technique again, let me know. As I always say at the end of these classes, once you're my student forever. I want to support you in your creative journey. So Shira, if you're doing jewelry, just send me an email, show me what you're doing. And Aishani, if you're experimenting with random stuff, just write me. If you need advice, just write me. I'm happy to help and to support you. And to wrap up, what I usually do is I ask everybody to unmute themselves so we can all say loud and in a very confusing way. Let's see if I have some powers of, okay, so everybody unmute yourself, all of you unmute yourself. Perfect. So thank you so much for
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the class. Bye.
Thank you. Very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 For current workshop offerings, please visit our website. Thank you for watching.